So guys, what's happening? What's happening? Guys, do a quick video. Tomorrow I'm gonna do videos about Canelo Saunders. Hans just given an interview, and hopefully do Joshua Fury. Maybe I might do one on Saturday about that. But it looks like Kell Brook has come out. This video is gonna be about Kell Brook. It looks like Kell Brook has come out and accepted Amir Khan's challenge. Yesterday we heard that Brook was going back and forth with Chris Eubank. He's now accepted the offer, but what was worrying was the fact for the fight happening is the fact that Kell Brook said, I don't know whether it's a publicity stunt, I don't know whether he genuinely wants it. That tells me there's not been any negotiations, and it's Amir Khan just said that I want to fight Kell Brook. What that generally means is that Khan was given an interview, and Khan always says that I've got a few names that I'm looking at and I would love to fight Kell Brook. The fact that he mentioned Kell Brook's name first tells me that here's the thing. Amir Khan's always wanted to fight Manny Pacquiao. We know that. And I felt like he wasted a lot of his years fighting, looking for a Mayweather or a Pacquiao fight. But I think he now knows that Pacquiao's looking for McGregor and looking for fights like that, and he's looking for maybe Spence. And he's probably thinking that, let me just fight Kell Brook. We can do it in Saudi Arabia. It'll be a big fight, and it'll be a big payday for both of them. And a lot of people are saying, what weight's it going to be at? What is going to be the split? That's not important, I don't think. I don't think that's going to really matter, because I don't think Kell Brook's going to argue with the situation, because especially if the fight happens in Saudi Arabia, Kell Brook isn't really going to have a leg to stand on in terms of the finance side. He'll probably get offered a deal which will be respectable for where he is, and he'll take it. Do you know what I mean? He'll take it because he won't get paid any more money fighting anyone else, right? And in Saudi Arabia, the price, what he's going to get paid is going to be inflated anyway to what it probably would have been here in the UK. That fight would be that fight is irrespective, in my opinion. Both guys are going to get paid well, just because of the fact that I think the fight will happen in Saudi Arabia, and Saudi Arabia like to pay good money. So I think both guys are going to get paid well. I think the weight could be a stumbling block. Personally, I think Amir Khan's going to want it at 147. Kell Brook might want it at 154. I think he should be at 149 or 150, just so they go in between. Just because I don't think Kell Brook should get 154. The fight's not going to happen at 154. I saw some of the Brook fans saying the fight's going to happen at 154. It's not going to happen at 154, because Amir Khan will make sure the fight doesn't happen at 154. And I think 150 would be fair. Go split down the middle, have it at 150. I think that would be at a catch weight. I think 147 would be a drag for Kell Brook. But again, like I said, I don't think Kell Brook would argue. I think Kell Brook, even if Amir Khan says let's do it at 147, I think Kell Brook would do it, because I just think Kell Brook wants that fight, not just for the payday. I think he also wants to fight. But I don't think the fight's the same as what it was, in terms of not just the finance, not the fact that they were both relevant at world level. I mean, it's not the same in terms of both guys. I don't see the press conferences being as lively. I don't see the back and forth being as bubbly. I just don't see it. I don't see both fighters going back and forth like they might have done in their younger days. As Kell Brook mentioned it on TalkSport today, that I don't see the press conferences I don't think we'll be insulting each other and going back and forth. I think we're a lot older, and it's just about the fight now. But again, we don't know whether this fight's going to actually happen, because Amir Khan mentioned the fight, but there's been no negotiations. Otherwise, Brook would have said we're in negotiations. Now, he may not be saying anything, even though there are negotiations, because he doesn't want to spoil anything. Because I think Amir Khan would like to announce the fight. I think he would like to announce the fight, and I think Brook would know that. I think Brook doesn't care right now. Brook doesn't care about. He obviously will care about the payday and the money and stuff, but I think as long as it's respectable, he won't care. I don't think he'll care about the weight either. I just think he wants to get the fight on. Simple as that. I think you just want to get the fight on, because like I said to you, Brook's options are limited. I know he was talking about Eubank, and he was saying, let's get that fight on. I don't know whether that was a publicity stunt from his part, just to show Amir Khan that I have got options. So don't mess me around, because let's be honest, the fight with Eubank is not realistic. Brooks really a light middleweight. Eubank's a big middleweight. Really, I don't see that fight coming off. And Eubank wouldn't fight anything below 160 in terms of 157 or one. So I don't see that fight happening, if I'm honest with you. I think that was just kind of like Kell Brook responding to Eubank, just because Eubank said some disrespectful things, which were disrespectful to a former world champion when Eubank's never been a world champion. But back to the Khan Brook situation, I think this fight's gonna happen. I think it's gonna happen. I think Kell Brook saying it's a publicity stunt, I don't agree with it. I think Amir Khan is serious. I think he's serious, and he seriously wants the fight. If I'm honest, he wouldn't come out and mention Kell Brook's name. There was a reason behind that. There was a reason to spike up the public's interest, see what the public are saying. Now, the reaction from the public hasn't been great. Let's be honest. The reaction from the public has been very poor. The public don't want to see the fight. The public aren't very interested. A lot of people have been very critical in terms of what they think about this fight, saying that it's a rubbish fight, saying that, it's not a fight. It's a fight way past its best. No one's really interested. And the fact that we're hearing Fury AJ might be made, I think, again, will undermine this fight. This fight potentially, and the reason why I'm so frustrated, this fight, if these both guys played it right, I think Amir should have fought Garcia when he was the mandatory for Garcia. Instead, he fought Canelo. He should have fought Garcia. I think he would have in my opinion, he would have beaten Garcia. And Kell Brook should have fought Jesse Vargas. In my opinion, Kell Brook would have beaten Jesse Vargas, and then we would have had a big unification fight here in Britain. And that would have been, in my opinion, a lot of people say Froch Groves. Amir Khan v Kell Brook would have destroyed Froch Groves. Right? Amir Khan is a bigger name in the UK than Carl Froch. Anybody that lives in the UK would agree with me. Amir Khan is a way bigger star and way bigger name than Carl Froch. And Kell Brook's a bigger name than George Groves. So, for me, there's no way. And the fact that would have been a unification fight. Because I genuinely do believe if Amir Khan had taken his mandatory challenge against Garcia, he would have beat him. I generally, even though Garcia got the win earlier on in his career, I feel Khan played it into his hands, fought the fight reckless, went gung-ho and made it easy for Garcia. Now, the Khan haters will say, no, Garcia always beats him. No, he doesn't. Amir Khan was fighting very well against Canelo, and that was Canelo, who's a very good boxer, very good ring IQ. Garcia, good fighter, but again, anyone with a bit of movement and speed is going to be a problem. And Khan last time fought Garcia's fight. It's a bit like Sugar Ray Leonard fighting against thing. And I'm not comparing Khan to Sugar Ray Leonard before any of you get onto me. What I'm saying is his style for me was all wrong for Danny Garcia. And that's why you saw the first 3 rounds is Garcia getting battered, because Garcia couldn't handle the speed. The problem was that Amir stood in the pocket too long. The way he fought against Canelo is the way he should have fought against Danny Garcia. And Garcia wouldn't have been able to get near him. Garcia's even more flat-footed than Canelo. But Canelo's a lot better boxer. He's got a lot more ring. His ring IQ is a lot better. And he caught Amir Khan, which was always going to happen. Canelo was all wrong style for Khan. And what I mean by that, Amir was always going to do well for a couple of rounds. But Canelo's power, his boxing ability. Canelo's a boxer-puncher. That style for Amir Khan is all wrong. Eventually, somewhere along the fight, he's going to think Garcia's more of a slugger. He's not a great boxer at all. Canelo's a very good boxer. And like I said, the style was all wrong for Amir. I always felt someone like Miguel Cotto was all wrong, just because he was a big puncher and he was a good boxer. Anyone with that kind of style was always going to be a big problem for Amir Khan. Just styles make fights thing. Just like Amir against any good boxer, he'd take him apart, because it's just styles thing. It's a style thing. In terms of Brook, I think Brook would have beaten Jesse Vargas. And that's why Brook really sold his career that night against Golovkin, because Brook would have beaten Jesse Vargas, would have become a unified champion. And then the fight would have been so big that both guys would have taken the fight, because it would have been a unification fight. And I think the division would have demanded the fight. And I just think that they both missed the boat. And that fight potentially would have then, if those scenarios had taken place, Khan beat Garcia, Brook beaten Vargas, that would have been, at that point, Probably one of the biggest fights in British boxing history, and maybe it would have surpassed it numbers-wise than any other British fight. And the only fight that would have done more is Fury Joshua. But Khan Brook, for me, would have been one of the biggest fights in British boxing history. But unfortunately, those guys didn't strike while the iron was hot. A lot of people would blame Amir Khan because he's always been the guy in this, you know, seen as the A side, and he could have easily made that fight happen. But, you know, unfortunately, it wasn't to be. It wasn't to be, and it upsets me that now people are just shrugging off this fight. But in terms of the public saying that they're not going to be interested in this fight, believe me, they will all watch. You'll all watch. And I know people are saying they're not interested. They'll all watch. They'll all watch. They're all going to watch the fight. Come on. You're not a UK boxing fan if you're not going to watch Amir Khan v Kell Brook. Irrespective whether the fight's past his sell-by date, you're going to watch. So don't come out with nonsense comments that you're not going to watch, because you're going to watch. You know you're going to watch. Right? I'm going to watch. I don't care whether... Forget, I watched Hey Bellew. That was a fight that was terrible in the sense that you had one guy that was handicapped. You know, that had a bad leg. And we watched that. How many pay-per-view buys did that do? Right? Are you trying to tell me that two guys at the same level, and Bellew was more in his prime as well. Here you've got two guys way past their best. Way past. And you know what I find funny is the fact that people say that Kell Brooks, oh, he's shot now. Khan's way past his best. You know, Khan's had a way harder career. He's been fighting at a way higher level for a longer period of time than Kell Brook. You do know that, right? Khan's been fighting at a very high level. This is not, like, as many people would point out, this is not a fresh fighter. Amir Khan is not a fresh fighter. He's had way harder fights than Kell Brook. Fought at a way higher level than Kell Brook. Kell Brook's had, what, 4 tough fights in his career? Khan's been fighting tough fights. Yes, some fights he might have made them look easy, but any fight at world-class level is very difficult. And he's been fighting at a very high level for a very long time. For a very long time. You know, so let's not make out that, you know, Brooks had, just because he's had 3 hard fights, that he's had it hard. No, Khan's had it very hard from the start of his career. He's had it very hard. He's been in there with a lot of top fighters. So they're both at the same level now in terms of where they are in their career. In terms of how the fight goes, a lot of people want to know my opinion. I don't know. I don't know because they're both vulnerable. I don't know what's going to happen in this fight. I don't. I think they both have as good a chance as each other. It's a 50-50 fight. I don't know who's going to win. I don't know who is going to win. I would favor Khan, and a lot of people will say I'm biased. But I will favor Khan. I'll tell you why. I'll give you my reasoning why. I think Brook's a sharpshooter. Kell Brook's punch resistance isn't there anymore. We've got to be honest. His punch resistance isn't the same. And you could say the same about Amir Khan. His legs are also not what they used to be, and that's going to be a big problem for him. However, in the Crawford fights, Kell Brook was knocked out with the first meaningful punch that landed. Amir Khan showed a lot of toughness in the fight against Crawford. Now, people say that Kell Brook won the first 2 rounds and Khan couldn't win a round. Okay, whatever. The thing is, winning first 2 rounds is not what I took away from the fight. What I took away from that fight, as soon as Crawford landed the first meaningful punch, Brook was out of there, and it was like a jab. It was a jab. If we're honest, it was a jab, right? It was a hook jab, and it caught him, and that would have knocked out any other top level fighter. Let's be honest, and it wouldn't have knocked out Brook 5 years ago, but it did knock Brook out. And here's the thing: Amir Khan's speed is going to be a problem because we know that Amir Khan takes people out early in fights. He's hurt people several times. He's also taken people out early. And I personally think Brooks early on is going to be in big trouble with the hand speed because I don't think Brooks got the reflexes that he once had to get out of the way. And I think that's going to be a big problem for Brook. So let's see. Let's see. I think it's going to be a 50-50 fight. I wouldn't be surprised if Brook knocks Amir Khan out. It's one of those. I would favor Khan because of this hand speed and just because I think he'll land first. But it wouldn't shock me if Brook wins via knockout. But I think this fight is going to end via knockout. I think we'll all agree with that either way. But leave your thoughts, guys. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. It looks like this fight is going to happen, but we don't know until it's signed. Leave your thoughts and, guys, let me know what you think. and I'll see you all in the next video. Peace.